Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Ruby and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the flame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Thanks, Caulfield.
Welcome to episode 68 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Town with a massive, much-needed win, almost as much as I need a haircut. Fantastic. We've got Neil Bradford Terrier in the virtual studio. We've got a very excited and also slightly angry Richard Kosmala after his recent Asda experience. We've got Simon Copland back in the top corner and serial podcaster now, Brady Frost in the bottom left. And I'm Matt Shaw as usual. So this episode again is sponsored by the fabulous Magic Rock Brewing. If you guys need a few drinks, I'm sure you will do through the rest of this season. If first few games have been anything to go by, Magic Rock Brewing are doing a little deal online at the moment whereby if you spend over £40, your delivery is free. So check them out at the Magic Rock and go to the shop, and some good ones there. I've got our own little favourites.
Radio DJ stuff, that one. It's
Birmingham players had a crate before game, I think, didn't they?
I don't care. Right, Birmingham 0, Huddersfield Town 3. NFG about how Birmingham played for me. What about you guys? So I'm quite happy with that. I was still quite nervous at 2-0 because we look rather susceptible to balls in the box. But happy days, 3-0 win, fantastic. Grant back to the left, Campbell up front. Campbell really put the shift in as Town fans like. And who wants to kick us off with a little bit about the game? Kosi, you're full of beans today after missing out the other one.
Brilliant. I just thought Emil Smith Rowe just got it going. 1 minute. He was energy. He was ready. We were up for it. I was impressed. I think I want to get carried away. I think we've got to temper it a bit. That Birmingham have obviously known the flights are starting again, haven't they? Jet2 and Ryanair. I think they've booked a few, haven't they? Because they didn't turn up. But Huddersfield Town, we'd have given anything for a win, wouldn't we? At 6 o'clock tonight, and we were good. I thought I was worried every time they got a crossing, to be honest with you. But yeah, that second goal in the second half, I thought they were going to come out a bit more, but obviously we missed the penalty, and then you're thinking, oh, here we go, is the turn. But straight away, Campbell, quality, and yeah, we're comfortable in the end, and that as well, just what we needed. Because, the natives were restless, weren't they, after Sunday?
Neil. You're there with your Andy's Man Club ball, aren't you? And
I'm in a better mood today. I thought I might need my Andy's Man Club ball, so we were ready. We were ready. T-shirt were out, signs out, balls out, not literally.
Mine is.
But yeah, to be fair, much improved, and if we're being brutally honest, they didn't have to go very far to be much improved from the first 2 games, did they? So I thought first sort of 10, 15 minutes, Smith Rowe and Grant linked really well, tormented them. We showed intent down that side. We showed that that's where the threat could come from. We gave them a couple of warnings early on, a couple of shots from cutting in. Blatant penalty. He couldn't not give a pen there, could he?
No.
To be fair, Camp's got a big touch on that, hasn't he? So it's
gone nice and early, hasn't he? And Grant's, they're both weird penalties because Grant's watching him all the way to, and then Camp goes really early, doesn't it? So it's
like it for him. Yeah. It's but end of the day, who cares? It went in. So yeah, we were happy at 1-0. Bit nervous at half time because you're thinking history tells you, especially over the last couple of years, that second half at the start we are very susceptible to the sort of sucker punch early doors. But no, none of it. Another penalty, definite penalty again. Good spot by referee, to be honest. Definite pen. Poor penalties. Put it exactly where you don't want to put it. 2 foot high in between keeper and post. So, yeah, not a good pen. But at that point, you're thinking, oh, no, is it going to turn? But great balling by Toffolo, clever finish from Campbell.
Great ball, yeah, absolutely
It was
great
a
ball.
cracking balling, and, Campbell's hit it first time. Great finish, keeper's no chance. And
it's just after the pen as well, isn't it? So because you're thinking, oh, we've just missed the pen, and all of a sudden your heads are down, and then all of a sudden the ball's in, and it's in the box and in the goal.
What I liked is we didn't feel sorry for ourselves after missing the pen. We got straight back at them, won the free kick, good balling, good goal. And to be honest, they were that bad at 2-0. Me and Kosi were sat watching it. Was
Kosi, I've seen a picture and I want you to tweet it later, but Kosi looks like he's sat outside, like you've banished him to outside.
No, we had all TV set up at dining room door. Dining room door's quite big, so we had TV set up outside, but I've got gazebo put up in the back garden.
No, so let's get it right.
So just sat there.
Neil's in his living room and Kosi's out with the dog.
Neil, I follow. So for the second time, I followed it work on Neil's telly.
A bit like your microphone now.
All right. But Birmingham, we had Birmingham's commentary on. They were good, Neil, weren't they? We had Jeff Kenny, remember him, top left back, and he was so down the middle. We were shocked. We were good.
But all in all, much deserved, much improved. But as Danny Cowley said, I tweeted something similar, that you've got to, let's temper it, because Birmingham were bloody awful, if we're being brutally honest. But you can only beat what's in front of you, and we've done that very, very well tonight. So overall happy, but it's a big test Saturday because Preston haven't had a great start after the restart, and they're still strapping for a playoff place. So Saturday's a tough one, but all of a sudden, from being dreadful first two, you win tonight. If you can win again on Saturday, things look a lot different, don't they? And obviously with the news on Wigan, pressure's on them.
It's amazing what a win can do. And I'll bring Simon and you in, Brady, in a second.
Yeah,
what I'll do is I'll read some comments out and you guys can jump in and critique these if you like. So let's have a look through. So keep your comments coming in via YouTube. We'll try and read out as many as we can. And today we've got around about 61 people watching at the minute. So great stuff. So thanks for joining us. Stephen
Apologies
King apologies for most of it. This is how you work out how unprofessional we are and how much editing I have to do because
absolutely not how rude.
Right, so Kieran Clark says huge victory with the situations at Sheffield Wednesday and Wigan. Alistair Harris says Dehaney needs a mention for being solid in the last two matches in tricky circumstances. Do you know what? I've been quite critical of D'Amico Dehaney over the last 12 months. I didn't think he was really up to it. 2 games, 2 good performances. Well done to D'Amico Dehaney on that one. And we've also got Gamer James. So one for you, Simon. Gamer James, best performance of the season?
In patches, possibly. There's been quite a few highs and lows. Kind of thinking about it, I don't know.
I'd say Bristol City at home, personally. I think that was a good performance from us. It was only 2-1, but I thought the performance that day was good.
Yeah, I thought we started really well today. I think, obviously, kind of the build-up to the first goal is really good football. I thought there was probably a spell around kind of like the last 15, 20 minutes of the first half, really, where Birmingham and arguably a better team might have capitalised, actually. There's a couple of balls into the box from Pedersen, their left-back, which Jukovic got his head on. Couple of yards either side of Lossell might have been a bit different, and then one with Scott Hogan as well, which actually was offside, but had he not been free header at the back post, a better striker might have done a bit better. But
balls into the box was definitely a weakness, wasn't it?
It was, but Birmingham set up that way as well. And
the big side, Jukovic is a good player, but he's far better than what we saw when he was 19 and asthmatic on loan and throwing his shirt at the No, it can move now, which is good. I'll just read some more out as well.
I think go on. In the way that kind of at the weekend, it was the worst time to concede after half time. It was almost the best time to score today as well. I was still a little bit fearful. Kind of Birmingham obviously came from 2 behind against Hull at the weekend, but yeah, once we got that second, it was never really in doubt from that point. I think a good performance, but to your point, really, don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Have another big game coming on Saturday.
100%. So Daniel Stevanato seems a little bit in disbelief as to what's happened. Yes, Dan, it definitely did happen. We won 3-0. Simon Lister says he's not going to get carried away, but that was definitely needed. Tom Slack says Cowley's out, lol, which is we'll probably come on to in a little bit. And can we still get in the playoffs, says Marty. It's amazing what a win does, isn't it, to the mood of Huddersfield fans, because I think we're all
it's ridiculous,
walking the gallows the other week.
A more bipolar set of fans.
I know, we're as bad on here. Do you know, like after Nottingham Forest, I think we were all a little bit. But Dale Marsden's watching the misery. My mate. Go on, Dale, lad. And he says, we look like we wanted to win from kickoff tonight. We're showing at times this season we can play and win convincingly, but we don't seem to want it every week. Great response, exactly what we needed. That's
Dale
not Dale. That's not Dale, is it?
Yeah, Dale.
I think someone stuck the name in.
Just one for you. If that Bellingham goes to Dortmund, how do you think he'll do? If you could type back, mate, I'd be interested in that, because he showed a few sparks, but he never really got going tonight.
Tell you what, Hoggy, absolutely. I thought Jonathan Hogg was, he's been poor for me since David Wagner left Jonathan Hogg, but tonight I thought he really stepped up and he put himself around and he really sort of physically dominated Jude Bellingham, I thought, in the middle of the pitch. And fair play to Jonathan Hogg. He was everywhere today, and so was Lewis O'Brien. And those two set, Fraser Campbell set the tempo up front. He's like a little chihuahua, isn't he? Chasing a stick. He's such an angry striker. And it's
Do you know what
sets
difference
the tempo.
Tonight? The one big difference tonight for me, we played like we give a shit, and that's chalk and cheese. I mean, the Wigan game, the less said about that, the better. Notts Forest, there were a few people happier with that. I still thought it were awful, to be honest.
First 15 were all right. Like the rest
I
of
think the other thing, Neil, you said it before we kind of started the pod, was kind of round pegs in round holes, really. We had an outside number 9 who worked hard, who's kind of played that position all his life. We had Grant back on the left-hand side who looked dangerous with the ball at his feet, cutting in, moving forward. Kachunga, yes, perhaps doesn't offer the most creativity, but you're going to get there on the right-hand side, you get good work, and with an inexperienced right back behind him, arguably needs that protection in front of him as well.
100%.
And kind of Lewis O'Brien kind of playing much more kind of in the middle of the park. I think it's worked as well.
The biggest pluses for me is the fact that Smith Rowe came in and played the 10 role, played it really well. He looked a player tonight, did Smith Rowe.
He's a player.
Grant better off on the left. We know that's where his threat comes from. It's no coincidence that's how we got the penalty, with him cutting in from that side and getting
good move,
down.
great move, great. But that ball from Toffolo, fantastic.
Matt,
he cut in earlier than that and skied one. So
Matt, you said that Grant were poor. Matt, you said Grant were poor. Come on, mate.
First 20 minutes, I thought it was good. After that, I thought Grant was poor on the left. I thought his decision making, especially in the defensive third, was really poor, and he put us under pressure quite a lot. And it wasn't a surprise when he got taken off after 65, to be honest.
But for hours, it done damage then, though.
But yeah, he scored a pen. He's won the pen. First 20 minutes, he had the bit between his teeth. He was really dangerous cutting in. He had a few shots. But it's to be fair, his strength isn't in the defensive third, but a couple of his decisions really put us under pressure at times.
That was nice, calm defending, wasn't it? For that first penalty for us, what they just assessed it, defended, didn't he? And
yeah, just like you're having it.
I'm on beach, have it.
Yeah, that was such a great ball cut back from Toffolo as well. I thought it was an excellent ball, and Grant's taken it well, and we deserve that lead. So Brady, we'll come to you finally. So probably the most regular podcaster out of all of us now. You're everywhere, aren't you? So
I prefer like it, mate.
So how about you? How would you?
Place, isn't he?
I know he's like a
at least
young
he
Ewan
stayed
Roberts
on
there.
Sunday when you lot had disappeared. Cheers, Brady.
Thanks, Kosi. I was in the post.
He's the consistent one.
Yeah, about the game. Well, we've talked about it before. How the Cowleys just seem to wait for the first 15 and then decide. But I thought tonight, like you just saw from the start, like Campbell chasing Lee Camp, and he has to kind of hastily clear it out. And that first 10 minutes I thought were fantastic, and it's complete contrast to Forest. And yeah, I don't know. I think we were half time. They had a couple of chances, and it was kind of like you say, like Neil touched on. We were a bit on top there. We should have maybe tried and scored another. And then I think in a way it was almost like what happened to us against Forest happened to Birmingham. Obviously, we got the second pen. It was a pen. Grant's was a bit, like I think Glennon said on the commentary. Camp's going really early on both of them, and he nearly gets them both. Whereas when Grant scored his pen against Forest, he just concentrated and just smacked it. And then obviously we scored straight away. And what amazed me was obviously great delivery from Toffolo for the second and for the third for Mounier to knock it down. And they just kept giving fouls away in that position. I mean, I'm not complaining, because that's where two of our goals.
It was strange. It was very strange.
Really weird. Yeah.
I mean, that
They're
ball that
giving up, I
Toffolo
think, aren't
knocked
they?
in for third goal for Mounier. I mean, Mounier's peeled off round back, and it's a great header across. But I've got to say that their left back Pedersen was Jason Davidson-esque, wasn't he? He was absolutely awful tonight.
He's genuinely one of the best rated left backs in the league as well. But today, he threw one in today.
Not tonight. I think he'd been down Bournemouth Beach at weekend and had a party. To be honest, he was absolutely awful.
Did Lee Camp look like Lee Camp, Neville Southall? I think that was Neville Southall. Did you not think? Yeah, no.
No.
He's not that big, is he?
Right, I'll mute myself again. Cheers, guys.
Lee Camp, yeah. It feels like he's been around forever, does Lee Camp, doesn't he? I remember being linked with him in about 2004.
I'll tell you what, though, guys, let's be honest. It's great to get one over them, innit? I'm sorry if there's any Birmingham. No, I'm not. But
no, I hate Birmingham.
We ate them. We were getting it all out, weren't we? We were getting it all out.
Steady.
I know. But, yeah.
Birmingham, Peterborough and Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah. Peter and Love. You never sold us Peter and Love, and I'll always hate you for that. Obviously, Barry Fry on your pitch dancing. See you later. And then, obviously Curtis Woodhouse.
I think Darren Bullock will have enjoyed that one tonight as well, won't he? So
absolutely, will.
Yeah, I think so. Let's dive back in. So John Smith, one of my favourite Twitter accounts, if you like. He says, gentlemen, we must bear in mind that Town are on 3-game weeks for the rest of the season, so squad rotation is going to be critical. No matter how good a performance, expect changes for fitness reasons, which is something good to bear in mind. And we saw Colin Quaner today, didn't we? Colin Quaner's first, Chefcock, first appearance for quite a while. So if anyone wants to know why it's called Chefcock, it's because he does all his cooking for Kachunga, and it means best chef in German or something. But Dale Marsden's watching; he'll be able to tell us. So apparently, it is him. It's real. So there we go. So what about the squad in general then? So we've seen a little bit more today. We've seen Pritchard coming back in. We've seen Colin Quaner, Kachunga.
What were he doing? Pritchard, that finish. He just looked like he couldn't be asked when he come on. I've always stuck up for him, but I mean, his effort, it was like such a downgrade, wasn't it, when we lost Smith Rowe for Pritchard, and that finish. Not at one point I thought he'd score. Not at one point. Sorry,
it was all right, but that was poor. But it reminded me of sort of 5 minutes earlier when Grant had it in a similar position and he should have slipped Emil Smith Rowe in, and it was like almost like a carbon copy, wasn't it? But
I know everyone wants to be happy tonight. We've won 3-0. It's a great result. We're happy with that. It's put us a bit of breathing space in when we needed it on the back of the Wigan news. But let's be honest about Pritchard. 10 million quid. We haven't seen anywhere near 10 million quid back, have we? We're lucky if we've seen 20 quid back.
Done very little for 2 years.
I'll be honest, we're throwing money at players like that. And when we signed him, I'm thinking, this lad's good player. Everything we'd seen everywhere else, it was an exciting signing. And he's been, we've made some bloody awful signings in the last couple of years. I mean, let's be fair. We've wasted some absolutely atrocious amounts of money. But Pritchard, arguably one of the most disappointing, an English player.
I did some stat work. I was having a chat with Stephen Chicken about him, and I'm just like Pritchard. For me, since we signed Pritchard, I just thought it was the wrong type of number 10. We had Izzy Brown and Palmer before, and I thought we needed that sort of more physical number 10. And for me, Pritchard never fit what we were about. He couldn't set the tempo from the front, couldn't press, and he wasn't quite powerful enough in a team where you need players to be able to hold the ball up and allow players to advance. But that aside, he's not really done much. But I did some sort of a little bit of work, and he's averaging around 10, 11 games per assist or goal, 10, 11 appearances, and it's the same as Adama Diakhaby. So, for me, Pritchard is in that group.
I think the difference for me is, speak for myself at least, kind of Adama Diakhaby, Isaac Mbeze. I never heard of these guys before they signed. I had no real expectations. Yes, to kind of come with transfer fees, but my expectations were a lot less than what they were for Pritchard. Pritchard, I was excited. I had kind of seen him at Brentford on loan. Obviously, I'd seen him kind of where he played previously, and I had really high hopes for him. But
I think he's lived off that loan a little bit.
He's been a complete letdown, hasn't he?
Yeah, Matt, you always.
To be honest, what you said there, Simon, I did have high hopes for Diakhaby and Mbeze, just purely the fact that between them they cost us 20 million quid, and you should have high hopes for people who come in at that kind of brass. They've got to come in, and what they've done. I don't want to go too off on a tangent on this. It's not the night for it, but they've been dreadful. But absolute wasters, all three of them.
But he's got a chance to make himself a hero the last few games.
The thing that pleased me though, Neil, and I watched Barnes' game last night and Luton at Leeds, and the biggest thing I noticed from them there, compared to what we at Forest, they worked their socks off so hard. Everyone put a shift in. They really wanted it. And while Barnsley maybe got a bit lucky.
By all accounts, Luton did the same with it because they won at Swansea, didn't they?
They did. But
so in space of 3 or 4 days, they've taken 4 points away at Swansea and Leeds, which
we
took hidings at both.
We were there tonight, Neil, with work rate, but I think the thing that's hard to work out for me, they were awful and didn't turn up. We put it in. I think we're only going to know on Saturday, out because Alex Neil will send his boys, then, and they'll be he's there and do our
physical side, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's hard to judge, but obviously we're happy. But the effort and the work rate were much better than Birmingham. But for what that is, we'll soon find out, I think.
Throw in.
Matt, can I just come back on your question, mate? Sorry, because I think kind of someone asked about kind of the squad depth. And just give my 2 pence. So I think in attacking options, we're quite blessed, actually. If we can get people fit. Kind of Mounier, Campbell probably alternate quite a bit up top. The 3 behind, we've got some options there. I think where I'm really concerned for us is at the back. So listening to Oggy tonight, he mentioned that Jayden Brown's out injured and that's why he hasn't been included today. Obviously, we've got Stankovic as the one kind of centre-half who could kind of come in if Schindler or Stearman need a rest. Romani and Green isn't allowed, given he was on loan at Swindon. And then we know at right back we're a little bit short, which is perhaps why kind of he gave Shalabar 10 minutes there. Just see what he could do towards the back end of today's game. But I do fear a little bit with all the games in short succession, particularly if someone like Stearman, who hasn't played a lot of football kind of prior in the 18 months prior to joining us, then for him to then play as many games as we're going to need him to could kind of...
you see, a shout for me there. I get what you're saying on that, but a shout for me there is you've got an England under-21 international sat on bench who plays centre-half for England under-21s. So we've got a great backup there with Chalabar for me. So there's no reason why he can't come in and play that role, to be honest.
He's flexible. He's flexible enough to play right back as well. It's right back, something I mentioned for Trev before in past in WhatsApp groups.
He's the one I'm surprised hasn't played more since we returned, to be fair. Because before the lockdown, before the games ended, he was arguably for 4 or 5 games probably our best, most consistent player in the lead up to. Should have scored at Leeds. Less said about that, the better. But in the lead up, sort of 4 or 5 games, he was starting to.
Playing a number 10,
to hardly play at all.
Playing Smith Rowe reinvigorated him, didn't it? Having someone in front of him to find in midfield really brought the best out of Trev, and there's definitely scope for him, and he'll play his part. Like John Smith said, there's going to be need for rotation, and Trev will definitely be part of it. And he's a decent player to bring in as well. Is Trev, as is Jon Stankovic. But if we just go back to,
well, can we stop there? Right, Neil, I'm going to throw my first hand grenade there. So Neil, you put a tweet out, and I agreed with you. Jon Stankovic, go on. You want to say 11 games a season? I think
that's what he's averaged. I think
what were going on? People like
the outpouring of outrage that he'd been allowed to go for me was just utter bollocks. If I'm being honest, you've got a lad who's played 11 games a season, and all of a sudden is Beckenbauer. Sorry, but no, I'm not having it. Has he got potential at his age? Of course he has.
25 next season, I think.
Yeah, but
I think he's a bit younger than maybe than what he is.
Somebody who's averaged 11 games a season, had a bad injury. You're not telling me that all these people were clamouring for Stankovic to get in team. Sorry, I'm not having it.
I think it's the context though, Neil, isn't it? Because obviously we lost on Sunday, disappointing. You've got the club is joining, announcing it. Town aren't saying anything about it, and I agree.
That's been explained though. To be fair, they
jumped
the gun. And I'd be more
at the time, and I think as well, like obviously before Stearman came in, I thought he was playing quite well. Yes, he's not played a lot, but I did think he put in some good performances
and some shockers. If we're being honest,
shockers, yeah. I mean, who hasn't this season? But so I could see why people were a bit. I agree. Like when you look at it, 11 games a season, but I could see why people are like, well.
I thought a lot of people, if I'm being honest about it, I thought a lot of people were using it more as something to beat the club with again on the back of another bad, horrible defeat.
Mm-hmm. I would have Stankovic's agents were like.
I can remember times over the last few years when the teams popped up at 2:00 before you go in ground. You've seen team pop up, Stankovic, and literally outrage across Twitter. How come Stankovic is starting too slow, too soft, too this, too that? All of a sudden, Stankovic is the bloody saviour. He's off to Sturm Graz in Austrian League.
He
Let's
scored
be
at
fair,
Etihad.
Austrian
He
league.
scored at the
Come on.
Etihad, Neil. He scored at the Etihad, mate. And that's why he got his
Brilliant,
goal.
yeah. Only problem is they were a defender and we let 6 in. So, you know.
Ben hammer time, wasn't it?
I think my opinion of Stankovic is it feels like a missed opportunity, but it's not one the Cowleys have missed.
No.
Because I think he came in with that tag, didn't he? But where we were at the Millbridge Club and David Wagner was asked, if you could bring in 3 players, a defender, midfielder, striker, who would you like to bring in?
First one he named, wasn't he?
And he was the defender. He said he'd bring in, and everyone's like, "Who's Stankovic? Is he that guy that played for Croatia or something?" And it's like, no, it's Jon Gorenc Stankovic, and we managed to get him in. And when he was definitely raw, let's say, he was definitely needed to adapt to the game. But that injury, at that point when he got that injury, that's the point when he needed to go out on loan, maybe get battered a little bit, sort of toughen up. Because when he's come into the side and we've not been able to give him the run, there are certain games whereby he's been destroyed. Sam Vokes for Stoke destroyed him on New Year's Day, absolutely ruined him. He got ruined at Bristol City.
Wiltshire,
that's years ago, that, mate. But I'm talking recently.
Lovely lad. Decent
he's physically
no loss.
You have to kind of question physically whether Stankovic can play at this level. I think the boat's probably gone in terms of his development a couple of years ago when we could have loaned him out, but. I think sort of he's probably a bit too nice. I think he'll do really well in Europe. He's a good footballer. He's a brilliant footballer, ball at feet.
He's a good footballer.
But physically, in England, I think he struggles for me.
Yeah. I think he came with lots of potential and he leaves with lots of potential, but he's never lived up to that during his time at Town. And I agree with everything that's been said. The one thing I think that's perhaps maybe worked against him slightly is he had a period in central midfield, didn't he? Kind of playing at the bottom of that diamond. Almost, I think it was kind of Jan Sievert's tenure a little bit. Was it the kind of the shield? It was Slovakian shield, the Slovenian shield? I was getting it wrong way around. Kind of he went by for a little while, and I think a lot of people were never quite sure: is he centre half or is he a defensive midfielder? And I think if he'd been able to hold down one position, then maybe we'd have seen a bit more of him.
But 11 games a season average says it all. So the outpouring of, oh my God, I can't believe they're letting him go. And let's be fair, Sturmgrat's announcing it. If we were signing somebody, he'd be more annoyed if the selling club announced it first.
Oh yeah, no, and I agree with you on that. I think it's just obviously the club comes out and clarifies it after. And I mean, for me, Stearman before lockdown deserved to go ahead of Stankovic. I think Stankovic and Schindler are both ball playing centre backs, and they're kind of similar.
I mean, let's have it right. I'm not. My thoughts on Stankovic leaving. That doesn't all of a sudden mean that I think that the centre halves that we've got now are playing particularly well, and we should be keeping them.
I wanted to ask you guys that
over the course of it, I just don't see it.
How worried are you with crosses and every Town game at the moment? Crosses are just coming in all the time. There's no one
quite worried.
And they won every single header today. I thought in the box, it's so scary. I mean, I think David Nugent led the line for Preston, and I don't know whether he will on Saturday, but it's such an Achilles heel, isn't it?
Jaden Stockley plays for them, doesn't he? He had COVID, I think, so I don't know if he's back, but he ruined us at Preston. Jutkovic is a good striker at this level, and we struggled. I thought we panned Schindler a little bit, didn't we, on Sunday? But I thought Schindler had a great, not great, but a very good game today. I thought Stearman played well as well, and Schindler was good in the air today. He kind of went front, and what he's good at is nipping in front of people and winning it and winning the ball. And I thought Schindler had a good game today, which is great to see, and it was good to see. Danny Cowley say a number of the senior players have been, that had a meeting in the changing room, and Schindler had stood up and tried to get people going again, Stearman, Lossell, etc. And it's good to see Schindler sort of back that up with a good performance as well.
Why don't we block crosses though? Why do we not? It's my pet hate in foot. I know wingbacks do a different job to what they did 20 years ago, Mally Brown, but why does every single team we play against get an easy crossing week in, week out?
I can't answer that.
Come on, Matt.
Sorry.
If you're listening, Danny Cowley, just dial him. We'll have you.
So D'Amico Dehaney, obviously a very raw right back. I think he's done well. Like I said previously, he's done well first 2 games. He's probably not quite as quick and quite as confident to get out to people. So I think he kind of hangs back in that block of 4 a little bit. I think he'll get there. Toffolo was better today than it was against Nottingham Forest. A lot of balls came in against Nottingham Forest. I thought Toffolo had a good game today. If it's deep, the wingers, Grant, not so great, sort of tracking back and doing the defensive work, and Willock hasn't been great either in doing that. But Kachunga made a difference today. I know he's not he's scored a goal, and there's a couple of questions coming in as to whether we'd keep the guy. Great to see him score. Absolutely love the guy, and he does a lot of good work, and he will track Pedersen. Like I said, Pedersen's one of the best fullbacks, or supposed to be one of the best fullbacks in this league. And today's not done a lot because Kachunga's worked hard today. He might not have had the silky skills like a winger would, but Kachunga's really put everything on the line today, and he's not played for a long time, and I think he deserves a lot of credit. Yeah,
it's like I said at weekend. All we ask is that they look like they give a shit. To be being brutally honest about it,
and he does. He 100% does.
He does. Yeah, we need to watch a team that puts that shirt on and cares and goes out and plays like they care. If they go out tonight and all have a go, give it everything, and we get beat by a better team, I think pretty much all Huddersfield Town fans, or a high percentage of, would accept that. But you can't accept the first two performances because they want that in it. Whereas tonight they've given us that, and it's paid off with a good result.
Definitely, and I want to touch on Kachunga as well because my friends always tease me for me being too harsh on him, but I thought he played well tonight. I don't think Willock's really done much since he's come back, and like you say, Matt, like chuffed he got his goal, and I think Dehaney, yes, Kosi was saying about blocking crosses, but I thought Dehaney, did well. I mean, early on when he had two players on him and he managed to win the free kick. And
it was same with Simpson though at Leeds. It's not Duane. I'm not picking on him.
No, I know.
Simpson's legs have gone. Simpson's legs are gone though, aren't they?
Yeah, I think like you say, Dehaney's played first two games. Well, these two games he's played. I think he's played all right, and hopefully that Simpson and his contract ending isn't going to be as big a deal as I suppose some of us thought it might be. So
Mounier is big for us, isn't he? I mean, how good?
Huge, big fan. Big fan of Steve Mounier.
Me and Neil were saying, because I never thought he'd see this season in, never mind out, and then next season I want him to stay. Can we afford that?
I love the guy, mate. I think he's. I keep saying this every week, but I don't think the Cowleys get the best out of him. I think he can do more than what they think he can do. I think he maybe. I don't know if I'm maybe stepping out of turn a bit, but I think Mounier is quite bulky. He's quite muscular. So I think when somebody's like that, but yeah, sort of in short bursts, he's good. In short, he's really strong in short bursts. Good in the air, strong. Maybe he needs to lean out a little bit and become a bit more fitter, so he can run more and do maybe what Campbell does. And if he can do that, is there a better striker in this league?
The thing is, you can't reinvent players either when they get to a certain age, but you can. If you play to his strengths in his role, there's not many better in this league. He's got the potential to do in this league what Mitrovic does at Fulham. Go on bullet teams and score plenty of goals.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, mate. 100%.
He's only really started scoring in the second half of the season. I think he's got 8 now, I think they said tonight.
Yeah.
So he could probably finish in double figures.
And his stuff as well, sign it. It's he's coming off that bench and getting one and getting taken off. So he's not actually playing many full 90s either. So his goals per games in that run were really, really strong. So he's
the Birmingham.
Hopefully, we'll see a lot more of him between now and end of season.
I hope so.
The Birmingham TV commentators were quite waxing lyrical for our bench. What Neil? They were like, look at the quality here. Look at compared to ours.
They were purring about the strength in depth that we've got. And we're looking and thinking, really?
Yeah.
But
yeah, job done. But yeah, it was definitely a penalty, wasn't it, on with Schindler and that as well. Even like Jeff Kenner was saying, like proper unbiased opinion, really. But yeah,
it was. But you don't see many of them given.
No, I agree. Yeah,
and I think you said right at the top, Neil. Kind of hats off to the referee for awarding it without VAR, etc. And for me, he got that one spot on.
Yeah, I'm just laughing at Andy Shooter on here because he's saying that you need a sheepskin coat. That's made me chuckle.
Yeah, I tell you what, guys. What about Wigan today? That was a bit of a. I'm talking about hand grenade earlier. Oof, who would have thought that coming? I couldn't believe it when we had that.
Can I be honest on this one? I'm going to be honest on this one.
You're going to say who gives a, aren't you?
Do you know what? The fact that their owners have been there a month, the new owners, and they're now going to administration, is an absolute disgrace. The fact that you've got, I mean, how can this EFL, the English Football League, they go through this so-called fit and proper test? What a complete load of utter bollocks that is. How can they, a month ago, pass a fit and proper test to take over a football club in the Championship in England.
That's in the middle of COVID
later,
as well,
going
isn't it?
into administration. You can't blame that on COVID.
They can't blame
It's going
COVID,
on
yeah.
before the last month. So they've got. Yeah. But how the EFL, when they're assessing these things, how can that get passed? How does that? You're not telling me that they didn't know that in 3 months' time they're going to run out of money. They got to go to administration. What a load of bollocks! The fit and propers test is not worth the paper it's written on. The people who need fit and proper testing are the people who do the fit and proper test. Because the fact that Wigan have started off like house on fire, 3 good wins on trot, playing really well, and now there's going to be people losing jobs. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I saw some Town fans really happy today that, that's on the plate, it's going to be taken in bottom 3. That's not the way to stay up. I'm sorry, but that is just not, it's not a good day to see any football team going into administration. Because behind that, there's people like ticket office staff, stewards, people who
St. John's ambulance and stuff like that. Yeah.
There's all these people whose jobs are now at risk because of some incompetent pillocks at the EFL passing these so-called new owners. They should be booted out of football. The fit and proper people should be booted out. It should be done properly. And I'm sorry, but I think it's just an absolute disgrace that this has happened.
So is the club and the fans, isn't it, that pay the biggest price? That's the shame about.
Do you think there's something in the timing, guys, on this or not? Or do you think I'm reading maybe too much into it? It's almost like 12 points before we could still do it, or do you think no? It's hard to tell, isn't it? Unless you suppose you know everything.
What was that?
Do I think there's anything in the timing?
The timing.
Not really. No.
Do you think they're trying to go into admin now so they don't next season? Is that what you're trying to say? Or?
Well, there's 2 ways of doing it, isn't there? Mm-hmm. So if they finish in the bottom 3, they'll get -12 at start of next season.
Yeah.
And if they finish outside the bottom 3, they'll get 12 knocked off after the last game. So they basically need to finish 13 points above 4th bottom.
Yeah.
But it's. I mean, I've said it all already. I just think it's an absolute disgrace that it gets to this stage within a month of new owners. I mean, it's just not right. That's not right.
No. Matt, what are people saying out there?
Let's have a look at what people are saying about
probably want
Wigan.
Me to shut up.
In fact, someone did actually say, "Do you ever stop moaning, Neil?" But I can't find that now. Kia someone or other, Kia Ovenden or something. I'm sure it was me.
I'm sure, normally.
No, I think that's the private chat you're looking at.
Yeah, no, that was probably me. Yeah. Right, let's have a look at your comments.
I'm joking now.
No, there's not a lot coming through about that. It's mostly about. Here we go. James Maginson agreed. Wigan fan myself. EFL is shocking. Owners pulled the plug with money and left us in a mess. Going to be more clubs, not just us, to look at Charlton, etc. And Phil Hodgkinson predicted this, and Phil Hodgkinson was rather disappointed with the response, wasn't he, from other football clubs? I think some of them were on it, but I think the response from a couple of teams at the top of the league was, well, what does this matter? We're going to the Premier League. And I think that was a disappointing response, wasn't it, from probably a club not too far from here. But he predicted this. He wasn't daft. He saw that coming, and I think the fruit of not really fruit, is it? But I think the what Phil has said is now sort of coming to pass, if you like, and there will be more clubs struggling, and it's not really what we want to see, is it? But I don't really know what the answer is, to be honest.
You see, I mentioned to Kosi earlier, I'm watching game here.
All the best, James, as well, for your club.
I think you've got the problem that hasn't been really mentioned that much is, say we go down this season, into next season, if there's still no fans let into grounds, how do League 1 and 2 start? Because people aren't going to buy a season ticket for something they can't watch. No. These clubs rely on that income. The transfer market will just fall through the floor. That won't happen. People rely on buying and selling players. How do League 1 and 2 start?
We've already seen there's going to be thousands of players available as well who won't get jobs, essentially.
But I mean, when Phil said that there might be 50, 60 clubs go, I think that were a little bit high, if I'm honest. But I think Wigan is just the start, because as soon as you go into that, are we going to have a league? If we go down, is there going to be a league for us to play in at start of next season?
I think the worrying thing, Neil, is what you said to me, just the off-the-cuff comment, when do you think, son, we'll ever get back into a stadium? I mean, you're hearing about these breakouts. We're hearing Bradford could be locked down, Leicester is. The COVID seems to be kind of back in groups. It's scary.
People need to stop acting like twats, and we'll be back quicker than what It's just simple
Well,
as
if we're
that.
being
Isn't it?
honest, guys,
Good story.
in before Christmas, at the moment, it seems a pipe dream to me.
They might
scary.
let a handful in. I think did they trial it somewhere where they had people sort of spread out?
Denmark, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe people who've bought, maybe they'll freeze season tickets and what we sold a couple of thousand, and maybe they'll say, look, you guys come in first. You've paid your season ticket. I don't know.
See, for me, in that situation, there's absolutely no way that I'd be stepping foot inside a football ground at the minute or anywhere else with. I mean, the pubs at weekend, whatever anybody's thoughts on it, we've all got our own opinions on this. But when you've been shielding for 14, 15 weeks, there's absolutely the cat in hell's chance that I'm stepping foot inside a pub.
I'm going to see how it goes first, and then but not interested at the minute. But I'm not a pub guy anyway.
Just going back to what Neil said, sorry, about like Wigan, and I think the thing that's really concerning as well is, how obviously this pandemic is awful, and it's unprecedented. But I think it's really worrying how what was it, 2-3 months of no football, and how many clubs are going to be in issue. I mean, obviously talk about ownership as well. Like look at Charlton and how much trouble they're in. I think it is really worrying that 3 months without football, and suddenly so many clubs are going to be in trouble.
Let me just can I just jump in actually, because there's a good message or two coming through, and one of them's from Kieran Clark, which says I haven't been able to verify this, but he says Sheffield Wednesday haven't paid players in full last month. Highlights the issue. So Sheffield Wednesday could be facing two whammies there, administration and financial fair play. So that could be an interesting watch. Dale Marsden, he says in the Netherlands, fans are allowed back as of the 1st of September. 1.5 metre rule, no singing or cheering goals, which goes against everything fans are.
Be no problem for us.
be all right for the opposition, but I don't know.
Where's the fun in that? That's not going to football, is it?
No, it'd be like watching a silent movie, isn't it? But no,
right.
But there we go. So result tonight, West Brom have beaten Sheffield Wednesday 3-0, so they're in a little bit of the mire, possibly, Sheffield Wednesday. And you don't really wish that on anybody, but they are a bunch of whoppers. Sheffield Wops Day, yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't want teams with administration. Nah, I don't like to see that. Just it's not that in football, is it?
No, because it's not just the football team that suffer, is it? That's
but the thing is, the players still get paid, don't they? That's the thing with it, innit? The players who earn God knows how much still get paid, and it's the staff behind the scenes who work their nuts off all year behind the scenes and get no credit for it, who end up jobless, which is just wrong, innit?
A bit of a side issue, guys. I didn't know this until you said, Matt, but the stadium, obviously there's a lot of crowdage knocking about and stuff like that. Our stadium were bare, but you told me, I didn't know this, that the club had wanted to get the banners out, but kind of
so I've got this from Ollie Fisher. So if this is wrong, you can blame Ollie Fisher. But I asked him, I said, well, how come you guys haven't got flags up there? And he said that the Cowshed Low wanted to make a stance that football without fans isn't worth the time. Essentially, I can't remember the exact phrase, but yeah. So the Cowshed Low didn't want to put stuff out, and I understand the stance, but it's not.
Point, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just the only thing is that I said to him is that it's not really football's fault why this has happened, but I understand the reason.
How are you guys finding it? Just with the kind of watching, you've watched 2 or 3 games. Obviously, I watch every single league and under the sun and what have you. But so I was kind of used to it. How are you finding it? Watching it on iFollow, not in the grounds, feeling detached from it. How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, I like Oggy. I think Oggy's a brilliant commentator, and I've seen some heat for him, which is surprising. On a few things, I really like Oggy's commentary, and but he makes me nervous. If we're listening to it, I can't listen to Oggy because he just the way he explains things is really good. But I always feel like we're under the cosh or something. But so yeah, I don't know why, but I always feel more nervous watching on TV or listening than I am in the ground. So for me, it's I prefer to be in the ground. I'm a bit more relaxed and chilled out.
To be honest, I've watched our games, but other than our games, I've watched Norwich and Southampton because it came up on that Pick channel randomly.
Pig channel?
Yeah, Pick. There's
Pick.
a channel called Pick, and they're basically showing Sky Sports.
Okay.
So I saw Norwich Southampton on that. I watched half of another game, but other than that, I haven't watched it because it's just.
I watched Wigan. Last night.
Training game. I can't get. It's not for me.
Yeah, I watched Wigan, and Wigan were excellent last night. It's a it's a shame for them what's happening. But the Naismith for Wigan scored the third goal's worth watching for.
It just takes away everything about watching it though, because there's no attachment to it. There's no crowd noise to make you sit up on. So, it's just not right.
There's no edge, is there? There's no edge. There's no.
None.
Neil, do you think Birmingham try harder with crowd in there today or not? I know they're the most noisiest anyway. There are a lot of empty seats, but do you think Birmingham lads give a bit more with the people in the stadiums? I think they must do.
I think the results for the away team show that surely there must
Absolutely.
be something in that. But there's also they take away a lot of the comforts as well, don't they? So there's only like certain amounts of players, like groups are allowed to train at the same time. So all your home comforts are taken away. So I think there's a bit more to it than just the crowds. But I think the crowds definitely make a difference, especially if they're noisy, I would imagine.
Yeah, the drinks breaks today, what, Rick? 12 degrees.
Like cricket, you'll be buzzing, Kosi. We're like Scarborough again, isn't it?
Yeah, we're on its way back.
You see stuff like that. I get the drinks break. I get the fact. I get why they do it. But when weather's coat and jeans weather, I'm sorry, but do they need a drinks break halfway through half?
It's consistency, isn't it?
Changing all rules, aren't there?
It still feels very pre-season, doesn't it? Kind of the drinks breaks, the 5 substitutions.
We're not season like we've played the rest of it, are we?
Who's going down, lad?
30-odd games, and last 9, you're playing essentially 4 quarters, not 2 halves.
Who's going down now?
You're going into 4 quarters, you can have 5 subs. The timing of the subs doesn't matter if you do it at half-time or in one at drinks breaks. It's just all... It don't marry up with the rest of the season, which makes it a bit of a mockery, to be honest, for me.
Before we jump in on that, cause I'll just read out Joseph McGregor, who says, for people who are used to watching on TV, he lives in Texas, does Joe. He says it's actually just fine. He watches all his Town games online, so nothing has changed. So thanks for that, Joe. Other people are kind of saying it's
get over for the
yeah, I know. It came over.
Friends are back now, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Get yourself over, Joe, the king of barbecue. So and bring some steaks with you. That's what it's all about. And Thomas Bradshaw says the management of this virus has been as bad as Jan Zievert's management of Town. And Tom Slack says, let me just check this one. Saw Oggy buying a stack of magazines when working at Sainsbury's and had to go verify the age on the self-scan. Don't know what... Oh, it says football magazines, thankfully. So that to quickly scan ahead there, quickly. But yeah, before you jump into that, we've got 2 other things that we'll come to as well. So you guys in the messages, let us know what you thought of the Danny Cowley out thing that came out a couple of days ago, that Danny Cowley's going to be sacked. Obviously nonsense. And Mark Devlin's interview as well on YouTube. So let us know what you think about that. And after Kosi's made his relegation prediction, we'll get round to that.
Well, we'll come to Devlin first because I think
you don't want to know who's going down, or you need more time to think about it.
We could finish that positive because I'm going to sales, but the Devlin thing was odd. I just couldn't get the timing of it. I felt, I get the club must look and think, right, we need to galvanise everyone, but I'm sorry, a guy who's just come in, maybe he meant in good intentions, but I just thought it were very poor from the club to do what he did. He very patronising, I thought. I was really disappointed with what we brought out, and
some cracking shrubbery in the background. I'll give him that.
If it was
it was
sat in his greenhouse.
It was tactless for me. I just didn't agree with it. I think a new guy coming in wants to, stamp his authority, etc., etc. But it felt very much like it were a pop at fans. And over the last 2 years, I tweeted something out. I watched it at about 2 o'clock this morning and tweeted something out because I was banging.
Few beers.
No, just not at all. Cup of tea.
Strong caffeine then.
To read that and then just sit and think about the last 2 years that we've had as fans. We've seen, not enough wins, not enough effort, not enough passion, not enough desire, poor structure, you name it. It's been, as a fan to watch, the last 2 years has been horrible. And there's no getting away from that. It's been awful. So to still be rocking in and getting 20,000 and still backing the team like everybody has, or pretty much everybody has, I thought it was a bit disrespectful, if I'm being honest, that there was something sort of aimed at, get behind us, this and other. No, it's up to now. We can't do it anyway. We can't do anything. We are irrelevant at this moment in time, other than what we can type on social media. And I think he were aiming it more at maybe people who are on social media moaning about stuff. But that's the only outlet people have got. We've just witnessed 2 horrendous performances that's shown us nothing. We've dropped in at bottom 3. You couldn't see a way out. There's all sorts going off pitch. And for him to come out and sort of aim it, and it just felt very critical of fans, but not for me. I just thought it were ill-timed, ill-thought out, and it's not the thing that should be going out on social media at the moment from the club. And I'm sure
there's a few things Brady said in there which were strange, and I to be honest, I listened to it and I just kind of thought it was all right. I didn't really take a lot of it in. I listened to it late, and then at the end it was kind of a "but please don't tweet mean things" kind of thing at the end. But in the middle of it, there's a few things were strange in terms of he said that the long-term aspect of the long-term goal is to run the club professionally, and I was like, well, shouldn't that be like an immediate concern? And
well, you just assume that that's been done already.
Yeah, exactly. So as a long-term goal, it was like, okay, so interesting. But yeah, for me, it didn't really allay anything. I understand he had a goal, but it just showed how much maybe that they miss somebody like Sean Jarvis, who is so in tune with the fans and can just kind of absorb that feeling.
The thing is, what he's done there, that's not the way somebody new to come and connect with fans either, for me.
No. You need, it's difficult.
It's not the way to come and connect, especially when they can't connect with us at all at the moment because we're not there on a Saturday or a Wednesday or a Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the difficult one because usually you get a Q&A and they'd be there and they'd meet people and they'd be like, "All right, lads," and
so
and move
if
on.
You're watching, Mark, I'm sure you'll hear about this anyway.
We do like you. We do like you.
And have a chat. Absolutely, come on here and tell us your thoughts. And by all means, disagree with us because that's what it's all about, isn't it? We're not all tuned in the same, and if we all agreed on everything, it'd be boring, wouldn't it?
I agree. I mean, I'm close friends with a kind of Brentford guy who does a similar thing to us, and he was saying he's a fantastic with the fans, great communicator. So I kind of had high hopes when I pressed play, and I just thought no. So I mean, obviously, it's early days.
Well, that's good that they've said that, though, isn't it? That he does communicate well. So hopefully we'll see that soon. And if he fancies communicating well with us, there's always an open door for you.
I can understand why the club did it, but given how we played in those first 2 games, we just want to, the only thing that's going to get the fans on side is if we put in a shift like we did tonight and start looking like
the mood. Yeah, the mood is dictated by what's happening on the pitch. 100%.
Down to play. I put it in my tweet to him last night. It's down to players and Cowleys. It's purely down to them now. We can't affect anything sat on his keyboards and sat with his phones in his hand. It's purely down to them guys to get out there and show us that they do give a shit. And luckily tonight, they played like they cared. And that's, as a fan, that's all we want. That's all we want. We could have lost 3-0 tonight for me, but if you've played and had a go and all played like you care, it's a lot more acceptable than getting tickled by Wigan and Forest like we have been.
So we'll move on to Danny Cowley, shall we? And those reports that came out suggested that he wasn't going to be in the dugout today. I think too many fans took this as gospel, and it came from a bit of a shithouse website, didn't it? That doesn't really have much of a track record of a lot with us. So there's a couple of things coming through on YouTube via the chat. We've got Thomas Bradshaw says, how many times do these types of sacking rumours come out when the club say it's nonsense and then 2 days later they're actually sacked? But he didn't think it would happen, but he was a tad worried. Colin Franchak says, do you think Wagner will survive the chop at Schalke? But if I was Wagner, I think I would walk out considering what's gone on behind the scenes there for the last few months. If the Cowleys have been in charge from the first game of the season and achieved the same PPG they have since joining, then we'd be well safe now. Getting sacked, proper paper talk. And Thomas Bradshaw just says about Devlin trying to make a mark early on isn't, and what does he say? Trying to make a mark early on, isn't he? And get his face out there, get him time to settle in. I think he'll be okay. So he seems experienced to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have no issue with that. But just let fans out of it a minute.
Yeah, so let's move on to the Cowley thing. I think this will be quite quick. Simon, you haven't spoke for a while. What did you think when you saw that?
Didn't believe it, to be honest, for a number of reasons. One, I think he's done a good job in the circumstances. Not a perfect job, but a good job. And the club has backed him in the January transfer window with kind of various recruits, etc. Also, kind of with everything that's going on, one lens on things would be that it would cost the club a hell of a lot of money to kind of terminate kind of both Danny and Nicky's deals this early on. And I couldn't see an obvious candidate to come in the short term and fix things, really. So didn't see much truth in it. I think kind of it's one of those vicious rumours that kind of probably a bit of poor journalism just jumps on the back of and kind of the world moves on.
Let's be fair, they've seen his first 2 results. They've seen a bit in the papers about the Danny Simpson saga, and they've got a bit of space to fill in a crap website, and they've just typed a really naff article that could have been any team, any manager. It'll have been there in print, add that in, job done. Absolute waste of space.
You're going to give them some quotes for their website there, Neil, as well.
Yeah. Pack it in, leave, resign, retire, done.
Kosi, what about you? What did you think to seeing it? For me, I just saw it and I just went, bollocks, and then scrolled past. But
yeah,
I think most of us felt the same.
Yeah, I must admit, I didn't think as much bollocks as you guys, because I saw what Neil Warnock. I just wondered whether, we don't want to go down, it's getting desperate, etc. So I didn't think it were the wildest kind of article I've ever read, and that as well. And you know what, guys, if we'd have got beat tonight, but then he is Phil's man, and he's before COVID, apart from Leeds, things were heading in the right direction. But I didn't think it wouldn't have surprised me that much, to be honest with you, because for football, can you be surprised?
I don't think you can be surprised by anything in football.
No.
But that article was bollocks.
But who's out there, though? That was the other thing. It was like, if the Cowleys go, Neil Warnock's gone to Bury, who are you going to get? Jonathan Woodgate? And it's like, no.
There's always somebody about in there. That's football, isn't it? There's always another one in there.
If there's money, yeah. If there's money.
Tomorrow, guys, Hull v Middlesbrough. That is absolutely ouch.
I think Borough win that. Easy.
I think Borough will win that as well.
Yeah. This ties on to your relegation predictions, Kosi. Are you dying to get into those, aren't you, to finish the show with?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been doing that if we hadn't won, but no, it's...
John Smith says, I think Blake the Snake Welton wrote that article. So
I think the problem is it's just the unknown at the moment, isn't it? Because Wednesday, Wigan is that... Obviously, they've confirmed it pretty much 12 Wednesday. I mean, if anyone's got the table, I've got it on my phone.
Wednesday could be 24. It could be 22 if it goes badly for them.
The thing on Luton look absolutely dead. They've got Jones back in.
He's decent.
With the fans weren't too happy with that because obviously left them. But he's come in and they didn't look a team to me that were going down anytime soon last night. Barnsley got away with it a bit, but again, their energy, I really wouldn't want to call it. The good
decent
thing with
manager
us,
they've got there, Barnsley. Decent manager, I think.
They've got Wednesday away and Reading away. They've got nothing to play for, and hopefully they'll kind of do the Birmingham mantra. But the home games for us are tough. But then West Brom, will they be asked? They might not. They might be open. They might not be open. It's so hard to predict. But it's
Millwall could be if Millwall are out of the top 6, can't get in.
Hull are in big trouble out there. They've got to win tomorrow, aren't they? Or at least get
Yeah, do you know what?
Hull for me, I think, are ones that will struggle. And I think Stoke as well. I think Kosi put it on our WhatsApp group. The fixture list that Stoke have got between now and the end of the season.
Everybody looks at Stoke and you look at Stoke and the players, and everyone just goes, "Nah, they're not going down." But I did watch them when I watched them last night at Wigan and Stoke. They, as soon as that first Wigan goal went in, that was it. Stoke were done, and very similar to us at Forest.
We played them around Christmas time, wasn't it?
They were superb, weren't they?
And we were 2-1 up. And you're thinking,
we shouldn't have been.
It was an exciting
have been.
game, wasn't it? And then all of a sudden, we're 5-2 down. And you're thinking,
I'll tell you what it does show, guys.
That squad should not be anywhere near bottom 3.
I think I predicted them to finish 6th this year. And
I think I predicted them top 6 as well.
On paper, they should be, but obviously it doesn't.
I'll tell you what it does show, guys.
No,
Darren McCantley on that. Points per game is absolute bollocks because Charlton were done. Barnsley were done, Luton were done, Huddersfield were safe. Points per game.
I said that all along. Points per game was bollocks, and I think that's an absolute farce what they've done in the SPL.
What would have been interesting is if they had have kind of if they had have gone to a points per game and the tables had kind of finished at that point. What would have happened now with administration, with Wigan and all that sort of stuff? Because in one sense the season's done. You could have seen a host of clubs kind of
cash in,
administration then at that point.
The points per game is utter shit. If you look at League One, Wycombe were 8th and they finished 3rd. courtesy of having a game in hand before closed.
Wycombe were heading to the bottom half as well. It's a farce, that.
I mean, it's just, how can that be right?
Look at Charlton.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it cost Peterborough a playoff place, which always makes you chuckle. But the fact that happened, they wouldn't jump from 8th to 3rd without kicking a ball just because they got a game in hand. Nah.
And Tranmere as well. Tranmere were harshly done by as well, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So Forestieri's left Wednesday, haven't they now? So let's just pay tribute to our fantastic number 45 striker. Is that on his script? What a man.
No.
Oh, man.
Are you going to sing the Forestieri song?
Mate, we're just
Oh,
sweet.
Danny Ward. Shall I find Danny Ward doing that and post it?
Oh, man. I think we've come to the end of time if I'm going to sing, but it's we've packed a lot
Well,
into
you
the hour,
did
but
say you were
what a
going to
great day.
predict. You did say you were going to predict who'd go down.
Yeah, you didn't say.
You
I
did,
don't think Barnsley will go, you know. Barnsley, Hull.
Colin Fronchak started a Forestieri chant in the chat.
Can Wigan, I put to you now, Wigan, all of a sudden, they're motivated, they're playing better than Bayern Munich. And now, are they going to be arsed now?
Depends if they're getting paid as well. That's another thing to throw in. If you're not getting paid, that's another facet to it, if you like. It's a strange one, but I feel bad for Wigan. But Hull, you look at Hull and you're like,
they haven't won since New Year's Day, have they? Like I think Si's right as well. I think Stoke tough run of fixtures. I think Barnsley will get out, and I think Luton. It's either Luton or Barnsley, but I think whoever does,
honest, I think
can only just go down.
We're not out of this either.
How many games have we got left now? 6.
Yeah,
6 games left. I don't think you can look past the next 3 purely because the things where people cement a playoff place or the down or they can't go up or down, start playing weekend teams. I think the last 2 or 3 games, they always throw up some really random, ridiculous results.
It again
really
shows why PPG is nonsense here.
Yeah, which again shows why PPG is utter garbage.
Not PPG Canal side, obviously, for points per game.
No, those were the days when we went to matches. Wow.
I used to park when we used to be able to park there. Yeah, that was a good one. Anything else, guys, before we wrap up? We've been going an hour now.
No, Preston.
Yeah, one quick thing. Quick thing, and it's not football related. But obviously I'm surrounded by all this stuff and the old Andy's Man Club ball. Just for people that are watching, obviously during COVID, Andy's Man Club has carried on, not meeting in person, but we are meeting on online groups. If anybody out there does want to get involved, don't be scared of it. Don't be shy. It's okay to talk. It's that simple. And
you even have to turn your camera on? Is that a thing?
We only ask people to turn the camera on once so we can see it's actually them.
Okay.
And then they can just sit with a blank screen. They don't have to talk if they don't want. They can just sit and listen and get a feel for it and see what's what. So if anybody out there is thinking of it, hasn't done it, make that step. Best thing I ever did, bar none. It saves lives. It saves lives on a daily basis. info@andysmanclub.co.uk and we can get you involved in new members group next Monday. Do it.
Yeah. Right, guys. Anything? Kosi, you wanted to talk about Preston? Very quickly.
I just remember Colin Kwana, that rebound. That were my. I don't want to talk about any away games at Preston, but it's a tough game. That, innit? It's ideally you'd want another team who were on the beach, wouldn't you? But this, I suppose, it'll show where we are, won't it? But I don't think anyone's getting carried away.
Difference is though, after Forest game, I really didn't want Wednesday to come for tonight's game, and now I'm thinking, roll on Saturday. Just shows you the difference of win, mate. It changes your mindset instantly. Ready for Saturday now. See what happens.
West Ham have scored a last-minute goal against Chelsea to win 3-2, and Bournemouth are all of a sudden looking doomed to join the Championship next year. But Preston, so for me, Jayden Stockley is an absolute terror for us. He's not an amazing player, but he's just such a pest. And we do struggle with those big elbows and knees kind of strikers.
Sent off at there.
Yeah,
taking Elphick out.
No, I think that was a midfielder who took him out, but he was the big blonde striker who stuck his elbows in everybody.
Was it Pearson who took Elphick out?
Was it Ryan Ledson? I think it. I can't remember.
It could have been a red card, whatever.
Is Tom Clark still there?
He's been released. Yeah.
David Nugent's there. He's 46 now, isn't he? He's got to be like
47.
I know. Connor Wickham's 52. Aren't these pro old experienced strikers, man? But yeah,
Connor Wickham's 27. You know.
I know. That's true.
Crazy. Older. Ben HB has backed me up. He says it was Ledson who put his
horrible tackle.
But yeah, so and are we not doing predictions because
You can't predict this, can you?
No. We've won today.
Anything rain again.
Anything could happen this weekend. But the only thing that one thing is certain: we'll be back again this weekend. We haven't nailed down a date yet, have we? But Sunday is probably Sunday is probably the time we'll be back. 24 hours later, morning after, if you like. I almost said morning after pill then, but hopefully it's not one difficult. Hopefully it's not one difficult to swallow. But yeah, so we'll be back next week. So thank you very much. Anything going out for you guys before we?
No, just obviously we don't get to see many wins, so obviously we got a lot of games coming up thick and fast. But let's just all enjoy it. 3-0. That we haven't seen that a lot this season.
Great stuff, and thank you to everyone who's joined us live on YouTube. It's definitely something new that we're trying, and if it goes well, we'll do it more often. So I'm glad you guys enjoy it, and we'll. For those that prefer to listen to it, we'll pop this up in about an hour's time or so. But thank you to everybody, and we'll have a little bit of Chris Carter to play us out.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.